Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a pretty wild journey, one that bridges the undeniable, hard laws of physics with some truly profound spiritual paradigms. We're going to explore a really captivating text based on teachings from 2008 by an author named Zufeng. We'll be looking at how this source takes the absolute mathematical certainties of our universe and applies them directly to human consciousness and spiritual destinations. It's a remarkable framework, and I am so excited to dive into it with you.
But before we get into the physics and the spiritual realms, let's start with a very human question. Why do we doubt? Why do we constantly struggle with anxiety, hesitation, and uncertainty about the future? It's something we all face, right? Well, the text we're examining today offers a highly structured solution to this universal problem, and interestingly, it claims that the antidote to all of our doubt is actually grounded in absolute, undeniable certainty.
Okay, let's dive into this by defining our core concept. The source material refers to this foundational certainty as the Tao, and the text defines the Tao very specifically. It's described as the consciousness of the greatest creator. It's the driving force behind the movement and transformation of literally all things. The author calls it the lifeblood of the universe, nature itself, and, importantly for our explainer today, the synthesis of all laws.
According to Zufeng's teachings, this Tao possesses 8 distinct characteristics. We've got holographic order, eternal reliability, instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, transcendence over time and space, spirituality, justice, non-obstruction, and finally, illusory yet actual existence. Now, while all of these are super fascinating, we're going to narrow our focus entirely on that second characteristic, the one that directly answers our question about doubt.
Section 1. Eternal reliability. The immutable, enduring, and dependable laws of the universe.
The text argues that because the Tao is the synthesis of all laws, within a certain time and space, the laws of the universe simply do not change. Every single morning, the sun rises from the east. Rivers naturally flow downstream. Seeds sown in suitable soil will sprout, grow, and bear fruit. The universe operates on a bedrock of reliable consistency. To prove this, the text kicks off a rapid-fire sequence of scientific and mathematical facts. Let's start with math. The mathematical constant of pi is always, eternally, 3.1415926 and so on. It never changes. It's eternally reliable.
Moving to physics. The source reminds us of the famous equation where energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Or consider this exact number, 16.7. If an object wants to escape the gravitational pull of our solar system, it must reach a velocity of exactly 16.7 kilometers per second, not just sometimes, but always.
In astronomy, this reliability continues. Halley's Comet doesn't just show up randomly. It operates on a strict, predictable 76-year schedule. Just as the Earth reliably takes a little over 365 days to complete its orbit around the Sun, and the Moon continually orbits the Earth, the celestial bodies follow the rules.
Back to geometry, the interior angles of a triangle will always sum up to exactly 180 degrees. And in meteorology, when positive and negative cloud layers collide in the sky, they will always trigger thunder and lightning. Light dispels darkness. Oxygen and iron embrace to become iron oxide. It is all incredibly precise. And this exactness applies to the natural biological world too. The text points out that eggs consistently hatch in exactly 21 days. After giving birth, a mother's milk will surely follow. The tides ebb and flow, flowers bloom and wither, and flocks of geese migrate southward. The timing of nature is a clockwork of pure reliability.
So, the crucial point is captured right here in this quote from the text. Shang Feng's argument is that this precise, orderly, and systematic universe isn't some huge coincidence. It's the ultimate proof of the eternal reliability of the Tao. Everything follows a pattern, and therefore the underlying framework of reality can be entirely trusted.
Part 2. Cause, Effect, and Certainty. The inevitability of results based on actions. If the planets and the math are perfectly reliable, then the laws governing our own daily actions must be just as inevitable. Let's look at some deeply practical examples the text gives. If you plant potatoes, you are definitely not going to harvest sweet potatoes. You cannot pick bananas from an apple tree. It's just impossible. The action strictly dictates the result, with zero exceptions.
The text uses some rather intense physical examples to hammer this home. Swallowing a whole bottle of sleeping pills reliably results in never waking up. Drinking concentrated arsenic brings immediate death. Eating croton seeds causes distress, and placing a hand in a blazing fire certainly burns flesh. There is simply no escaping the physical consequences of an action.
And this brilliantly illustrates the wider concept. Just as dialing the country code 0086 will unconditionally connect you to China, or trying to construct a skyscraper on quicksand will inevitably fail, every single action you take has an unconditionally reliable reaction. It's an unbroken chain of certainty.
Part 3. The End of Doubt. Stepping out of hesitation and into confident action.
The source explains that recognizing this immense, unbending reliability allows a person to stop wasting their personal energy. You no longer need to hesitate, wander, or feel anxious. You can confidently carry out your tasks and boldly pursue your goals, knowing the laws of the universe are perfectly stable. This gets right to the core thesis of the text. Doubt only exists because we mistakenly think things are uncertain. But once you recognize this ironclad reliability, certainty is absolutely guaranteed. The author gives a very grounded analogy. If you put fermented dough in a steamer for 15 minutes, you know you're going to get edible steamed buns. You don't doubt it. You should treat your life goals with that exact same level of certainty.
The text then beautifully applies this exact same logic to spiritual goals. For instance, the source mentions a destination called the 1,000-year world. So how do you get there? It's not a mystery. It's a reliable process. Step 1. Resonate your consciousness with its beings. Step 2. Adopt their way of life. Step 3. Persistently practice. If you do this, the text claims, your arrival is absolutely guaranteed, just as pursuing the sun reliably escapes the darkness.
We've all heard the phrase, good deeds bring good rewards, evil deeds bring evil consequences. But according to this source, this isn't just a nice moral saying designed to keep people in line. It's an iron rule of physics. It's dictated by the Tao's eternal reliability. It's a strict law that wrongdoers face hellish consequences and the virtuous ascend to heavenly ones, entirely independent of human will.
Now, what's really interesting here is how the author frames his own teachings. Zhuo Feng insists that he didn't just invent this concept. He claims this quote is the ultimate, predetermined truth of the universe. There's no such thing as an accident. Everything, every seemingly random occurrence you've ever experienced is actually the inevitable result of causes and conditions governed by the Tao.
Part 4. Gradual cultivation. Small changes gradually emerge. Big changes happen in an instant.
As humans, we are pretty impatient. We want quick results, especially when we're doing good deeds or working hard on ourselves. But the text advises us on the law of gradual cultivation. We shouldn't anxiously wait for the outcomes to manifest. To illustrate this, the text echoes the natural physics we saw earlier. A soft rope continuously rubbing against wood will eventually cut it. Water constantly dripping will reliably wear a hole through solid stone. Water flowing naturally forms channels, and when a melon is fully ripe, its stem will reliably detach. Daily, invisible, spiritual, or personal practice leads inevitably to sudden, massive transformation.
This brings us to the ultimate spiritual destination mentioned in the text, the Celestial Islands continent. The source defines this as a reality you can reach simply by steadfastly journeying and cultivating your actions without a single doubt. Because the Tao is eternally reliable and does not deceive people, persistence toward this goal will absolutely, unquestionably lead the practitioner there.
As we reach the climax of this explainer, we look at this defining quote. The source frames all of this, not as some mystical superstition or a wild guess, but as a highly logical summary of how life operates across different times and spaces. Your manner of thinking directly dictates your way of life. The consciousness you hold is the exact blueprint for the reality you embody. It is a one-to-one, fully reliable transaction.
Which leaves us with a really profound thought to carry with us today. If the universe is perfectly reliable, if every action, every thought, and every intention operates like an inescapable mathematical equation, what kind of reality is your consciousness reliably building right now? The laws are already in place. The outcome is entirely guaranteed by what you put in. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this deep dive leaves you feeling a little more certain about your own path forward.